see if I can get some more images and designs out. But we're just doing testing right now on staging, which this is our staging environment. So I said, please don't be gentle. But yeah, the fundamental ideas here is you as a consumer can view the services of validators, see the terms of the services, know what this like understand what the services rendered are, choose to agree to them. The validator now has knows that you've signed up, that you've registered, and you are able to use Web3 payment. So it actually tracks. The validator provides an ERC20 wallet. Everything is in ERC20 on the Web3 side. So with Web3, validators can provide their ERC20 wallet, which is the deposit wallet, and the consumer has their ERC20 wallet, and they deposit payment into the validator's ERC20 wallet. So it's all, we can track everything essentially via the dashboard for validators and clients.
This is really interesting. Now, I'll tell you why I'm fascinated by what you're doing, Arash. In my mind, is you're building, like, it sounds like you're building, this is open source, but primarily you guys are providing a service for validators to monetize themselves without them needing
Correct.
to go through the process of becoming a core cell or like an OpenTensor.ai service provider that sells access to the network. You're saying, hey, come join this collective, use our really beautiful front end, get access, and then you can sell that externally. So you're kind of co-locating a whole bunch of validators, it sounds like. Is that right?
Yeah, we're putting all the validators in this marketplace for them to interact and get consumers, right? So we can get all the consumers in one place, all the validators in one place, and facilitate all that interaction in a single location. Right. And then the actual interactions and payments are all decentralized and peer-to-peer. So we're not involved in any of the, and then we can track it all. So we know the wallets for the interactions, so we know what payments have been made, so we can display it on the dashboard. We have a server that's run on a per validator basis, and the validator server collects information as to requests made. So we were going to know throughput across all subnets, right? We're going to know traffic information. We're going to know revenue information across all subnets that use the request network. And we're going to be able to display that to all the validators, and we're going to be able to aggregate that to a higher level of the bittensor dashboard. So we're going to know all the revenue from all the subnets per validator. Like, it's going to be filterable on a dashboard like that we can provide anybody. And we'll know throughput too, right? Like, we'll know like how many transactions are being done on a per SN or per validator basis.
Does this mean that you'll be building a package that you effectively can take to any validator and be like, hey, look, come connect your validator and run this code in our system, and we're going to give you this revenue?
Well, the revenue is all in them, right? We don't take any cut. So if they want to come run or provide a service or spin up a service, right now, they take home all of it. Like it's all Web3 wallets, right? Like, so like the interaction of the service, what the data is provided to consumers, and the payment made by consumers is all away from us. We are just monitoring, right? We just have pretty much read access to what's going on, making sure that things are being done correctly from an auditing perspective. But outside of that, we're not facilitating any of that.
And so you've already signed up some validators to help you out.
Yes, Roundtable 21 in particular has been they've provided us feedback this entire time as we're working through all this. You saw them in the service. So they're actually doing testing on staging, and then our plan is like this month. So last month was get this thing on staging, right? Let's get this thing started to get tested. This month is let's get all the validators on staging. Let's get them all onto PTN as a starting point for a subnet, and then so all the validators are live on mainnet for like our version of mainnet for Request Network, and then in June we onboard all subnets. That's our plan.
And I see that you guys are putting together, this is your dashboard. That's looking nice. Not there yet.
Yeah, I want to also one of our oh, here we go. I don't know how I'm going to share this. Let me see if I can upload this. This is going to be really cool. Please, yeah. Again, I just got this shared with me, but you can pop that open, Cons. No, I just shared that in chat.
You want me to pop up the image on my screen?
Yeah, the image. Yeah, can you do that?
Yes, I can. Let's do that.
So ignore some of the wonkiness of the charts themselves. But yeah, this is kind of where we're going towards. So not just providing this place for the interaction, but analytics on a for validators and consumers. So they can see how much they're making. They can see requests made. They can see the number of consumers signed up. They can see the health of their services. They're going to be able to filter on a per service basis that they're providing, like on a per subnet basis. They can see the revenue over time, requests over time. They can see the number of, they can even go into individual transactions. They can see the consumers. They can see how many consumers have stopped payment. They can follow up with those consumers. So like if a consumer has stopped paying, you can say what's going on, right? Like, or you can follow up.
This is the validators.
Yeah,
This
for the
would be-
validator side. And
So this is the validator going, okay, great. Is this, am I being able to monetize this here? That's really cool.
Right.
And so you guys provide this service for them to, run a classic B2B or even B2C style profitable business with telemetry and statistics and a clean dashboard. So this is really cool. So what was the model for this? Like, where did this idea come from? I guess just from need, right? These validators came to you and said, hey, look, we want a way of doing this. Help us build this.
Yeah, I mean, we just look at the fundamental idea behind bittensor, right? Like we're creating these, we're trying to have all these these subnets create valuable output or services. It was such a need to have something. And when you think about the way that needed to be built, it needed to be built in a peer-to-peer or decentralized way, and needed to be built with the validators in mind to make services easy to render, right? Easy to plug in. It needed to be able to track information. It needed to be able to do this kind of auditing or the ability to track things publicly. So Web3 made a lot of sense. We allow for Web2 as well, by the way. If a validator wants to do Web2, they can. They need to self-report their revenue for our purposes of dashboarding. That's kind of we will recommend all validators go Web3 because I think the ability to see this from a community perspective and track like how everything is being done and make sure nothing is slipping through the cracks from a visibility perspective is important. But yeah, I mean, fundamentally, we knew we needed to build with these things in mind. And the need is just felt pretty obvious. Even I think I thought about building this in like September. Right? Like this was like months and months ago. I was like, man, we really need something like a request layer, something on top of subnets to facilitate this interaction. What would be really cool is the services rendered can now be used across subnets too. So one subnet can launch a service, and another subnet can leverage that service by plugging in as a consumer. So like we have cross-subnet interaction directly through the request network as well. So there's some really cool components here that are going to be in play that are going to be really powerful. Like there's going to be a layer now on top of the request network of these different products that are built, right? Combining the efforts of various subnets into one. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be really cool to see the end result, right? Like all of these consumer apps really that are going to be enabled through the request network.
Are subnet owners participating in this process or helping you with this and saying, hey, like this is how we want to do monetization of our subnets and this is how we can help you?
Yeah, we're gonna move in that direction probably. We haven't gotten feedback, and honestly, we've kept the payment methodology pretty simple to start, which is just a monthly sub, because it can get really complex. So we are gonna open the door to hear from them like how they want to do payments, because some might want to do like per ping, right? Like every time there's a request made, you have to fulfill, like there's a payment made. And we understand that there's going to be different dynamics, so we want to start small and then just hear feedback and then build features for the community from that feedback.
Very cool, Rash. So does anybody do validators have to be able to read this text here? Is this important?
I think that's just a bunch of jumbled text right now. Actually, I think it was just a message. It's a sample message. This again. Please don't kill us. This is all like this on staging. Like everything is. This is a design that's fresh. Like literally, I went to Slack and pulled it from Kenneth, who's our designer, and just threw it in here. So yeah, please don't kill us.
What is health? Who's going to be healthy here or not healthy? If that gets down to zero, what
Yeah.
happens? You just die?
Well, I think you're going to have some pretty upset consumers, right? So not only do we have a validator dash, we're going to have consumer dash, and very possibly we have a notification system. So you can get alerts, messages based off the health of your what's going on with the from the validators, from the services you've signed up for. So health is kind of like this this idea of like, you know, what's your uptime, how many requests have you fulfilled, how many errors have you received. Like your ability as a validator to ensure that you have high uptime. And as a consumer, if it's going to be really fascinating because now subnet owners are going to need to make sure that they think about bandwidth, they think about differentiation for their validators, right? Like how do you differentiate the value that one validator or another validator can provide? And from a validator perspective, like how can you differentiate, right? Like how can you provide a better service? And so health is going to be one of those dynamics, right? It's like making sure that you have really good reliability, uptime, load balancing, redundancy, et cetera, on your end to make sure requests get fulfilled. So if you're a consumer, you're looking for, you know, what is the service provided, but also the health of that service.
Well done, Arash. This has been scintillating and really exciting, actually. Really cool that this is being built in the background. We talked a lot about stuff. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about the request-let network. We talked about PTN. The prop firm is being built on 8, and so much more. Man, thank you so much for coming up on stage and talking with us. Now it's been the hour. Let's take it off here, and hopefully you come back. Any questions from the community?
Awesome.
If he wants to come up here and take some time away from Arash before he goes. If not, thanks for everyone for coming, and see you next week.
Thanks for having me. This was great. Thanks for letting me come on and just talk for like, I feel like I just talked a bunch. So it's fun though.
It's great.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
You're a great talker. So, cheers.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Ciao.